Farmers will argue about a lot of things: weather, seeds, soil, even whose grandpa fixed a tractor with nothing but baling wire and hope. But there's one debate so heated, so legendary, so guaranteed to turn a calm conversation into a full-blown rhetorical fistfight that it echoes across generations. Japanese versus American tractor engines. Not just which is better, but which philosophy, which culture, which engineering mindset truly owns the field. Beneath the jokes, the pride, and the shouting lies a much deeper story, one that reveals far more about farmers than the machines they defend. The never-ending farm fight. Why this debate refuses to die. If you've ever stepped into a farm supply store on a slow Saturday morning, you've probably witnessed one of the most predictable yet explosive natural phenomena anywhere between rural Iowa and northern Hokkaido. Two farmers, standing 10 feet apart, arms crossed, jaws locked, ready to reenact the agricultural version of the Cold War as they argue endlessly about whether Japanese or American tractor engines truly reign supreme. What starts as a casual remark about oil filters somehow detonates into a philosophical showdown that has outlived presidents, drought cycles, and half the tractors involved in the argument. The moment someone mentions their Kubota has never failed to start, even after sitting all winter, a patriotic American tractor loyalist materializes as if summoned by the gods of torque, declaring that while Japanese engines may be cute, nothing on earth beats the brute pulling power of John Deere or Case IH, and just like that, you're trapped in a debate with no beginning, no end, and absolutely zero chance of ever reaching a truce. What makes this feud eternal is that it doesn't revolve around machinery at all. It revolves around identity, loyalty, and the strangely emotional bond farmers build with the machines they depend on to shape and preserve their land. A tractor isn't just metal and diesel. It's a companion during long nights, a partner in storms, a veteran of breakdowns, and often a generational heirloom passed from father to son like a mechanical family member. So when someone says, "Your tractor isn't as good as mine," they aren't just questioning horsepower. They're questioning heritage, pride, and the memories welded into every hour of operation. American tractor loyalists, raised on the pop-pop-pop of old two-cylinder Deeres and the gravelly roar of case diesels, see their machines as physical extensions of the American farm itself. Big, loud, unapologetically strong, and designed to muscle through work that would make lesser engines fold. They argue that American tractors were built for the endless, unforgiving stretches of the Great Plains, where horsepower is not optional but essential, and where a tractor's worth is measured in how many bottom plows it can drag through iron-hard soil before anything even thinks about braking. But Japanese tractor believers operate in a completely different reality. They'll argue that engines don't need brute size to be powerful, that precision engineering always beats oversized cylinders, and that there's something almost mystical about a Kubota or Yanmar engine that fires instantly after 6 months under a tarp in sub-zero weather. These are the farmers who celebrate machines that sip fuel instead of guzzle it, who enjoy the smooth hum of a high RPM diesel tuned like an instrument, and who swear Japanese reliability has saved them more money and stress than any other piece of equipment they've ever owned. Because both sides can back up their claims, the argument only intensifies. American tractors dominate in torque, towing strength, low RPM grunt, and old-school durability. Japanese tractors dominate in efficiency, reliability, precision machining, and tight tolerances that feel like they came from a Swiss factory rather than a diesel shop. It's not that one philosophy is superior. It's that the philosophies were born from entirely different cultures, landscapes, and farming histories. The real trouble starts when these philosophies collide at the same machinery aisle at the same moment, and suddenly, two adults are arguing about cooling systems, machining tolerances, turbo boost curves, and maintenance intervals like they're debating global politics. One farmer insists nothing beats American steel when you're dragging a 40-foot cultivator uphill with a grain cart behind. The other fires back that nothing beats Japanese engineering when you need a tractor that refuses to die, even when oil changes are treated more like suggestions than commandments. But the deeper truth, the reason this argument will never end, is that farming has always been built on stubbornness, pride, and the unshakable belief that the decisions you make for your land reflect who you are. Buying a tractor isn't just a financial decision, it's a declaration of character. And when two farmers with two different identities collide, the sparks practically set off their own fireworks. This isn't a debate that ends with data, dyno charts, or engineering diagrams. It ends with someone smirking, someone shrugging, and someone walking away convinced the other side simply doesn't get it. And that's why this fight will outlive every one of us, because tractors aren't just machines. They're beliefs on wheels. Built here, built there, built where? The global manufacturing controversy. If you ever want to watch a group of normally calm, reasonable farmers lose their minds in under 30 seconds, all you have to do is walk into a dealership lobby, clear your throat, and ask one deceptively simple question. Hey, where are these tractors actually built? That's it. Step back, hold your coffee, and enjoy the chaos. Because this one question, this innocent little spark, is guaranteed to ignite more outrage, suspicion, and conspiracy theories than engine oil debates, emissions rules, and deaf complaints combined. And the moment someone proudly announces a tractor is 100% American-made, or pure Japanese engineering, the argument explodes into a storm of pride, nationalism, and the uncomfortable reality that modern tractors are built inside a global supply chain, so tangled it makes a bucket of hydraulic hoses look organized. On the American side, you've got farmers who are absolutely convinced that every John Deere, Case YH, and New Holland rolls out of a factory located somewhere between cornfields, pickup trucks, and a grain elevator. To them, an American tractor means American workers tightening American bolts on American soil. But the second someone points out that many compact Deeres are assembled in India or Mexico, that Case IH sources major components from Brazil, or that New Holland transmissions sometimes travel the world before reaching the US, you can practically hear emotional gears grinding. Some farmers take the news calmly. Others react as if their tractor just revealed it was living under a fake identity. But Japanese tractor loyalists are no calmer. They cling to a comforting image of their Kubotas, Yanmars, and Isekis being built in pristine Japanese factories staffed by engineers in spotless lab coats. Mention that a huge number of Kubotas sold in the United States are assembled in, yes, Georgia, and suddenly the peaceful believers in Japanese precision start blinking like they swallowed sand. Someone quietly insists that assembled isn't built. Someone else says the quality control is still Japanese, and before long the debate becomes a philosophical brawl about what built actually means in a world where parts cross oceans more often than cargo ships. And that's the heart of the controversy. Nobody agrees on what built even means anymore. Is it where the parts come from, where the assembly happens, where the engineering originates, or is it some confusing combination of all three? A global recipe nobody wants to admit they're eating. Deere fans argue a tractor is American if the block is cast here. Kubota fans argue a tractor's Japanese if the engineering is Japanese, even if half the components come from other continents. Meanwhile, compact tractor buyers stare at data plates stamped with multiple countries and wonder if they accidentally purchased a mechanical United Nations. The truth, uncomfortable for everyone, is that tractors today are global machines. Parts are designed in one country, cast in another, welded somewhere else, painted in a fourth, and shipped worldwide in patterns even the people working in logistics don't fully understand. It's not deception, it's economics. Companies build where it makes financial sense, source where it's efficient, and assemble where labor and logistics align. But farmers aren't just buying equipment, they're buying identity, heritage, and symbolism, and no one likes learning that their symbol isn't as pure as the brochure implied. This controversy gets especially heated when loyalty joins the conversation. The proud Deere owner doesn't enjoy hearing that some components in his born and raised American tractor have traveled more internationally than he has. The Kubota owner who praises Japanese precision doesn't love learning that part of that precision might involve assembly workers wearing Braves hats. And New Holland owners, caught between American heritage and global partnerships, often get dragged into the shouting match whether they want to or not. The funniest part? Many of the loudest critics rely on parts from the very countries they complain about. Some American brand tractors run Yanmar engines. Some Japanese tractors use American hydraulic components. Plenty of foreign transmissions are built in the US, while plenty of domestic wiring harnesses come from overseas. Modern farming doesn't care about borders. It cares about uptime. And yet, the debate keeps going because origin feels deeply personal. A tractor built here feels like pride, tradition, and community. A tractor built there feels like precision, reliability, and craftsmanship. When a machine blends both, farmers are forced to face a truth nobody likes. The world is complicated now. And that is why this controversy refuses to die. Because it's not really about factories or shipping labels, it's about identity. And as long as tractors cross borders, this argument will cross generations. Engineering philosophies that clash like oil and water. If you ever want to understand why the Japanese versus American tractor engine debate feels less like a technical comparison and more like a televised heavyweight boxing match sponsored by diesel fuel and human stubbornness, you have to look past brands, horsepower ratings, and shiny brochures and dive straight into the engineering philosophies that shaped each machine from the crankshaft up. Because the truth is, these engines are different, not by accident. Not because some corporate genius flipped a coin in a boardroom, but because the cultures that built them approach machinery in fundamentally opposite ways. So opposite, in fact, that putting them in the same discussion feels like mixing hydraulic oil with pond water and hoping for a miracle. On the American side, engineering has always been guided by one unwavering belief: bigger is better. Bigger displacement, bigger pistons, bigger torque curves, bigger radiators, just bigger everything. American engineers built tractors for the endless, punishing open spaces of the Midwest, where fields stretch into neighboring counties and soil conditions swing from concrete hard clay to axle-deep mud in a single afternoon. In that environment, an engine isn't a delicate instrument. It's a worksite foreman with rolled-up sleeves and a low RPM grunt wide enough to pull a barn sideways. So, when a John Deere or Case IH engineer sits down at a drafting table, the philosophy is straightforward. Build it strong, build it heavy, and build it to survive abuse that would send lesser machines straight to tractor heaven. Japanese engineers, meanwhile, approach engine building with the mindset of a master swordsmith. Precision, balance, and efficiency above everything else. Their philosophy isn't about conquering the land through brute force, but working with it, extracting every drop of energy from every cubic inch, and crafting components with tolerances so exact you'd swear they were building medical instruments rather than diesel engines. Japanese tractor engines feature smaller bores, higher RPMs, tighter casting walls, optimized combustion chambers, and fuel systems calibrated with watchmaker-level finesse. Where American engines rumble, Japanese engines hum. Where American engines muscle through a job, Japanese engines glide through it with smooth, disciplined consistency. Put those two philosophies side by side and the conflict becomes obvious. One celebrates brute strength, mass, and the comforting toughness of an engine that looks ready to survive a meteor strike. The other embraces elegance, refinement, efficiency, and the belief that power doesn't need to be wrapped in bulk to get the job done. It's not that one is better. They are simply two entirely different visions of what a tractor should be. This divide gets even sharper when you look at specific engineering choices. Consider cooling systems. American tractors rely on large radiators and massive coolant reserves to handle heavy loads at low RPMs. Japanese tractors operate with smaller, high-pressure cooling systems that are incredibly efficient, but demand meticulous manufacturing precision. Or consider component drives. Japanese engines prefer gear-driven everything: camshafts, injection pumps, water pumps, because gears eliminate belts and reduce failure points. Americans often choose belts or chains where it makes economic or serviceability sense. Then there's displacement. American farmers love displacement. A 6.8-liter Deere or an 8.3-liter Cummins is the agricultural equivalent of a big block muscle car. Heavy, loud, powerful, glorious. Japanese manufacturers proudly build engines half that size that still produce impressive horsepower through higher compression ratios, optimized combustion, and advanced fuel delivery. To an American farmer, a small engine with big horsepower feels suspicious. To a Japanese engineer, a huge engine making moderate power feels wasteful and completely illogical. And this is where the controversy digs in its heels. Farmers don't just argue about engines, they argue about the values those engines embody. To American loyalists, Japanese engines feel fragile, too precise, too perfect condition required. To Japanese loyalists, American engines feel crude, thirsty, and built with the mechanical finesse of a brick. Each side believes the other fundamentally misunderstands what a real tractor engine should be. But here's the truth. These philosophies clash because they were never meant to blend. They were shaped by different landscapes, different farm sizes, different histories, and different expectations. One built for vast acreage and brutal workloads. One built for precision in smaller, more controlled environments. Both brilliant, both effective, both completely right in the world they were designed for. And when those worlds collide in conversation, the sparks don't just fly. They guarantee a debate that refuses to die. Reliability wars, the claims, the rage, and the receipts. If you want to witness a farm argument so intense it could boil coolant out of a radiator in the dead of January, all you have to do is walk into a feed store, pretend you're comparing baler twine, and casually drop the one question that has started more fights than politics, land inheritance, and what counts as real horsepower combined. So, which tractors are actually more reliable, Japanese or American? Because the instant those words escape your mouth, every farmer in earshot transforms from a quiet shopper into a full-fledged litigator, armed with decades of stories, mechanical theories, and emotional investment so deep you'd think their tractor had raised their children, and suddenly the entire room erupts into a chaotic, diesel-scented courtroom where everyone speaks in long-winded monologues about engines that survived blizzards, nephews who don't understand oil changes, and fields that would have been ruined if not for a machine that decided to start, just barely, on the one morning it mattered most. On one side, you have the Japanese tractor believers, Kubota, Yanmar, and Iseki owners who treat reliability like a religion because they swear their machines possess a near-spiritual ability to run under circumstances that would send lesser engines straight to mechanical heaven. These farmers tell stories about tractors that sat all winter in an unheated shed and still fired up on the first turn, about engines with 10,000 hours that have never been opened, and about machines that survived being loaned to neighbors who treat equipment like disposable toys. And the reason these stories hit hard is because Japanese engineering really did build its reputation on microscopic tolerances, efficient fuel delivery, high RPM discipline, and a level of mechanical consistency so unwavering it feels less like machinery and more like a dependable personality that refuses to let its owner down no matter the abuse. But 10 steps in the other direction, you run straight into the American tractor loyalists, John Deere diehards, Case IH veterans, and New Holland defenders, farmers who talk about reliability with the pride of people who grew up beside machines that practically defined rural America. Tractors that worked harder, lasted longer, and endured more punishment than any machine rightfully should. These are the farmers who boast about the two-cylinder Deeres that ran forever on stubbornness alone, the old farmalls that outlived half the owners who drove them, the massive case diesels that roared like thunder but ran with the precision of a clock. And they'll look you straight in the eye and say, "My 4020 has outlived barns, trucks, and 3 generations of stubborn men. Beat that." And you can't argue with that kind of legacy because old American diesels weren't built for elegance. They were built for endurance, for abuse, for the kind of long days and rough fields where survival mattered more than refinement. But the reliability war truly explodes when the conversation hits the modern era, because today's tractors are no longer simple machines. They're rolling computers wrapped in sheet metal, packed with sensors, wires, modules, emission systems, and software locked behind dealer-only diagnostics, and that's where the rage begins. Japanese tractor owners argue that American brands have lost their way, burying their machines in electronics and error codes that transform basic repairs into $1,000 service calls, while American loyalists fire back that Japanese tractors are too small, too picky, too high RPM, too sensitive to fuel quality, and too dependent on maintenance discipline, insisting that real farm work, deep ripping, heavy tillage, massive loads, still demands the displacement and grunt only American diesels traditionally deliver. But once the shouting slows and everyone returns to their coffee, a quiet truth emerges. Both sides are right, and both sides are wrong. Japanese tractors are incredibly reliable, but only when their maintenance is respected. American tractors are incredibly durable, but only when you sidestep the infamous bad year models everyone whispers about. Japanese engines excel in consistency and simplicity. American engines excel in survivability and raw strength, and both can fail spectacularly when pushed outside their designed purpose. And that is why the reliability war refuses to die. Because at the end of the day, the argument isn't just about engines or statistics or failure rates. It's about pride, identity, memory, and the emotional truth that a farmer's tractor isn't merely a machine. It's a partner, a symbol, a piece of themselves, and sometimes the only thing they trust when the season, the crop, and the entire year hangs in the balance. The tech arms race. Innovation or overcomplication? If you ever want to see a farmer go from calm and collected to staring at a touchscreen like it just insulted his entire bloodline, all you need to do is ask what he thinks about the new high-tech tractors, because nothing reveals the generational divide, the philosophical divide, and the patience divide faster than mentioning screens, sensors, software, and the bizarre reality that modern tractors now behave more like rolling computers than the iron workhorses they replaced. In the old days, a tractor was simplicity itself. You turned a key, listened for the engine to rattle awake, nudged the throttle, and got to work. Today, you climb into a cab that looks like a starter kit for piloting a commercial jet, surrounded by more electronics than a Black Friday sale aisle. And instead of wondering whether the engine will start, you wonder whether the software will allow you to start it, a transformation that has turned the tech arms race between Japanese and American tractor manufacturers into one of the most heated controversies in farming. American brands, John Deere, Case 1H, and New Holland, have embraced technology with the enthusiasm of companies convinced the future belongs to whoever installs the most screens, writes the most software, and collects the most data, leading to tractors packed with touchscreen command centers, autonomous steering systems, cloud-based telematics, app-controlled implements, and diagnostic tools capable of tracking everything from fuel flow to soil variation in real time. These machines can operate straighter lines, calculate efficiency, map fields, monitor implements, and in many cases function with so much autonomy that the operator feels more like a supervisor than a driver. But the moment a modern tractor flashes an error code that resembles a cryptic Wi-Fi password, the mood changes dramatically. Because the farmer, who once fixed breakdowns with a wrench, a hammer, and some improvised courage, suddenly finds himself helpless until a technician arrives carrying a laptop, a software key, and the expression of someone preparing to deliver very expensive news. Japanese manufacturers, Kubota, Yanmar, and Iseki, take the opposite approach, introducing technology slowly, cautiously, and only when it genuinely strengthens reliability or improves efficiency. They avoid layers of electronics that create new failure points, preferring analog gauges, simple wiring, and engineering that can survive decades of vibration, dust, and weather without software updates or digital complications. Their innovations are subtle: cleaner burning engines, refined combustion, smoother hydraulic response, improved fuel economy, rather than the sprawling ecosystem of displays, menus, and interconnected systems found in many American tractors. Japanese engineers believe technology should make a tractor more durable, not more demanding. and that a farmer should never have to scroll through a maze of digital menus simply to lower a 3-point hitch. This ideological split is exactly what lights the debate on fire. Supporters of American tractors insist that modern agriculture demands precision automation and advanced data-driven decision-making because farms are larger, planting windows are shorter, and every hour lost can cost thousands. To them, the screens, sensors, and software are not gimmicks. They are profit multipliers that increase efficiency and reduce operator fatigue. Japanese tractor loyalists fire back with equal intensity, arguing that American machines have become so dependent on electronics, proprietary software, and dealership-locked diagnostics that farmers are losing the ability to repair their own equipment. They say technology should simplify farming, not bury operators under warnings, updates, and limitations that force them to involve a dealer for problems they once solved in minutes. And beneath all the arguments lies a deeper question about the future of farming. Should tractors evolve into autonomous, sensor-rich machines that operate like mobile data centers? Or should they remain straightforward, repairable work tools that any knowledgeable farmer can diagnose with basic skills and a bit of common sense? High-tech tractors undoubtedly deliver impressive precision and productivity, but they also introduce vulnerabilities. Software failures, sensor misreads, cybersecurity risks, and the unnerving possibility that a tractor might be perfectly functional mechanically, yet completely inoperable until a digital system decides otherwise. Simpler tractors may lack cutting-edge features, but they offer peace of mind, long-term reliability, and the comforting knowledge that if something breaks, a farmer can actually fix it without needing a laptop or a service agreement. And that is why the tech arms race never calms down, because beneath the technology debate is a struggle over trust, control, and the fear that one day a tractor may refuse to start, not due to mechanical failure, but because the software politely declines to cooperate. The price problem: why farmers accuse every brand of robbery. If you ever want to watch a group of normally calm, level-headed farmers transform instantly into economists, frustrated accountants, conspiracy theorists, and part-time philosophers, all you have to do is casually mention the current price of tractors. Nothing triggers louder groans, harder eye rolls, or deeper existential despair than realizing that every manufacturer, American, Japanese, European, you name it, seems absolutely determined to empty wallets with the enthusiasm of a vacuum cleaner plugged into a lightning storm. The moment someone says what a new tractor costs, the whole room turns into a support group for financially traumatized adults, each person trying to top the last with horror stories that sound less like equipment quotes and more like ransom demands written in green, red, blue, or orange. American tractor loyalists usually explode first, because nothing infuriates a John Deere, Case 1H, or New Holland owner more than discovering that the machine sitting on the dealer lot, still designed to do the same basic job tractors have done for a century, now costs more than their parents paid for their first house. And once technology enters the conversation, the rage spikes even higher. They'll swear that modern tractors are priced like luxury real estate, especially when you factor in touchscreen command centers, GPS mapping, autonomous steering, telematics packages, and computerized systems so advanced you half expect the tractor to ask for a Wi-Fi password before it lets you lower the 3-point hitch. What used to be a straightforward equipment purchase now feels suspiciously like signing a mortgage on a spaceship you didn't ask for. But the Japanese tractor crowd jumps in just as fast, insisting that Kubota, Yanmar, and Iseki haven't exactly been charitable saints either. Their machines may be smaller, lighter, efficient, famously reliable, but the prices have climbed so aggressively that longtime owners now look at quotes the same way they look at medical bills, confused, offended, and vaguely certain someone added an extra zero. Supporters defend the cost by pointing to precision engineering, fuel efficiency, and legendary longevity. But even they admit that buying a compact tractor today requires budgeting, negotiation, and possibly divine intervention. And when someone mentions the cost of parts, Starter motors priced like jewelry, radiators rivaling grocery budgets, wiring harnesses that cost more than a weekend trip, the entire debate turns volcanic. This is where the real conflict sits. Farmers accuse American brands of robbery because of the tech overload that drives both the purchase price and the repair cost into the stratosphere. Yet they accuse Japanese brands of robbery because the price of compact tractors has drifted disturbingly close to the cost of larger American models. It doesn't matter what side you're on. Nobody feels like they're getting a deal. American tractors feel overpriced because of features half the owners never asked for. Japanese tractors feel overpriced because their size and horsepower don't match the price tag. The result is universal frustration. Two different engineering philosophies, one shared financial pain. The anger escalates whenever older farmers join the conversation. They'll talk about buying brand new Deeres or Farmalls in the 1960s for amounts that today might barely cover a set of tires. Younger farmers listen to these stories like fairy tales from a distant past, because their reality involves price tags that look like phone numbers. The comparison between what tractors used to cost versus what they cost now feels like a personal attack on every farmer's livelihood. And because farmers are extremely aware of what their land produces versus what their machinery costs, the gap between the two feels less like inflation and more like highway robbery with a politely printed invoice. But the deepest sting, the reason the price debate never cools, is the simple fact that farmers don't have the luxury of boycotting tractors. They need them. They need reliability, power, efficiency, and equipment that won't quit when a weather window shrinks or a field desperately needs to be planted before the next storm hits. Manufacturers know this. Farmers know manufacturers know this. And that soft pressure of dependence transforms frustration into suspicion, because every price increase feels like someone taking advantage of necessity. And that's why this debate refuses to die. Because beneath the jokes, the shouting, and the dramatic retellings of outrageous dealership quotes lies one hard truth. Tractors stopped being simple tools a long time ago. Today, they are massive financial commitments. Machines that require payments, planning, sacrifices, and sometimes a deep breath before signing the paperwork. No matter the brand, no matter the color, every farmer feels like they're being asked to pay too much just to stay in the game. The copycat accusations, who's stealing, whose ideas. If you ever want to witness farmers devolve into detectives, lawyers, industrial spies, and bitter comedians all at once, just bring up the topic that has fueled more accusations, finger-pointing, and sarcastic muttering than horsepower claims, emissions rules, and reliability debates combined. Which tractor company is copying whom? Because the moment someone suggests that a certain design looks suspiciously familiar, or that a new model from one brand feels a little too close to something released by the competition a few years earlier, the entire conversation turns into an interrogation scene where every farmer suddenly acts like they work for the FBI's agricultural division. And nowhere is this more explosive than in the American versus Japanese rivalry. American tractor fans swear that Japanese companies have been copying U.S. designs for decades. Smaller versions of Deere layouts, similar hydraulic setups, fuel systems that look a bit too much like toned-down cousins of older K-Swain H or New Holland models, and transmissions that somehow resemble American engineering just enough to raise eyebrows. They argue that Japanese manufacturers built their reputation by watching what works in the U.S. and refining it, which is farmer code for stealing the homework and turning it in neater. But just when the American loyalists get too comfortable, Japanese tractor supporters fire back twice as hard. They claim that American brands have spent the last 15 years borrowing, some say flat-out copying, Japanese ideas for compact and mid-range tractors. They point out how Deere's smaller engines suddenly began to look suspiciously like Yanmar's philosophy. They joke that some American hydraulic layouts seem like Kubota in green paint. They even argue that several new innovations from American companies appeared in Japanese models years earlier, only with far less marketing noise. And when someone mentions that Deere literally used Yanmar engines in many compact tractors, the debate doesn't just ignite, it explodes. But the accusations don't stop at engines. Farmers argue about who copied whose cabs, whose hood shapes, whose dash layouts, whose loader designs, and whose transmission features. One side claims Japanese tractors now include American-style comforts because they couldn't compete without mimicking them. The other side counters that American compact tractors became reliable only after taking notes from Japanese engineering. Everyone retaliates with the same tone: part frustration, part pride, part comedy, and part paranoia. The truth fueling these arguments is simple. In the tractor world, every idea gets reused, sometimes improved, sometimes downgraded, sometimes inspired, and every company, American, Japanese, European, or otherwise, studies their competitors obsessively. If Kubota releases a feature farmers love, Deere analyzes it within months. If Case IH debuts a cab layout that operators praise, Japanese brands start planning their own variation. If New Holland introduces a transmission that shifts smoother than expected, someone overseas begins dissecting it. Yet farmers don't see this as natural competition. They see it as theft. They want their brand to be the innovator, not the imitator. And when features look too similar, accusations start flying harder than grain dust in harvest season. One farmer insists Deere invented half the industry. Another insists Kubota perfected everything. Another swears that New Holland and Iseki must be secretly passing notes behind the barn. But the real twist, the part nobody wants to admit, is that the copying goes in every direction. American tractors borrowed Japanese fuel efficiency principles. Japanese tractors borrowed American ergonomics. American compact tractors adopted Japanese reliability models. Japanese mid-range tractors adopted American comfort features. And both sides borrowed European ideas for transmissions, emission systems, and cab safety designs. In reality, the tractor industry is one massive group project where everyone copies from everyone, improves what they copy, repackages it, and then claims they invented it. Manufacturing overlaps, suppliers overlap, engineering teams move between companies, patents inspire other patents, and the global market ensures that no brand can innovate in a vacuum. But try telling that to farmers arguing about who stole what. To them, copying isn't just engineering, it's personal. If their brand copied another, it feels like losing pride. If the other brand copied theirs, it feels like validation. And because identity and loyalty run deeper than logic, the accusation war never ends. That's why this chapter of the tractor rivalry refuses to die. Because no matter how much companies blend ideas, farmers want to believe their brand leads, not follows. And as long as every tractor rolls onto the market looking a little like something else, the copycat debate will roar louder than any diesel engine ever built. The final verdict: no farmer agrees on. If you ever want to see a group of farmers collectively tense up, tilt their heads, cross their arms, and prepare for the verbal equivalent of a barnyard fist fight, all you have to do is ask one deceptively innocent question. The kind of question outsiders assume has a straightforward answer, but farmers know is a trap designed to ruin everyone's afternoon. And that question is, so, which tractors are actually the best? Because the moment those words drift into the air, the entire room shifts into combat mode as every farmer suddenly becomes a seasoned historian, a defensive attorney, a brand evangelist, and a part-time philosopher ready to argue until the sun sets. And that's because this particular debate, unlike horsepower comparisons or price complaints, isn't just technical. It's deeply personal, emotionally charged, and permanently unsolved. The truth, the one no one wants to admit aloud, is that there is no true verdict, no objective winner, and no universal ranking that will ever satisfy every farmer, because tractors are not just machines. Their identities, their loyalties, their childhood memories, inherited philosophies, and stubborn beliefs forged through breakdowns, victories, disasters, and long days when the only thing that kept the farm alive was a machine that chose to start when everything else went wrong. and you cannot argue someone out of a belief system held together by nostalgia, experience, diesel fumes, and the memory of a father or grandfather who swore by one brand until the day he died. Ask 10 farmers what tractor is best, and you will get 10 different answers, each backed by stories so vivid and biased they might as well be courtroom testimonies. The John Deere loyalist will swear that nothing built on foreign soil will ever match the power, heritage, and staying power of green paint, and he'll tell you his 4020 has outlasted marriages, storms, and multiple generations of bad decisions. The Case IH supporter will insist that red tractors combine American strength with practical engineering, and he'll say no machine pulls better under pressure or puts power down with more confidence. The New Holland fan will claim their brand is the underrated genius of modern agriculture, innovative, efficient, and unfairly judged because people underestimate anything not red or green. Then the Japanese tractor owners step in, calmly but firmly, ready to drop the reliability card like it's a royal flush at a poker table. They'll say their Kubota has never failed them once, not in winter, not in summer, not during storms, not during droughts, and certainly not during the kind of panic-inducing breakdown moments that leave American tractor owners scrolling through error codes like confused archaeologists trying to decode ancient hieroglyphics. Yanmar owners will brag about engines that run smoother at 10,000 hours than some American engines do at 2,000. Iseki fans will quietly point out that their machines, though less famous, will likely outlive the barn they're parked in. And yet, after all the bragging, all the accusing, all the technical explanations, insults, jokes, and nostalgic speeches, every farmer eventually runs into the same undeniable truth. Every tractor brand excels at some things and fails at others, and which traits matter most depends entirely on the farmer, the farm, the land, the workload, and the philosophy that shaped them. American tractors offer raw power, advanced tech, and massive dealer support, but they can be expensive, complicated, and occasionally over-engineered. Japanese tractors offer unmatched reliability, precision, and efficiency, but they can be pricey for their size and sometimes lack the brute force needed for heavy-duty operations. And European brands mix both worlds, bringing refinement and innovation but often at wallet-crushing prices. So the final verdict, the one no farmer agrees on, isn't a tidy ranking or a dramatic courtroom declaration. The final verdict is the realization that there is no universal best tractor, because farming isn't universal. Soil changes, weather changes, budgets change, needs change, personalities change, and tractors are chosen the same way farmers choose boots, trucks, tools, or partners, by what fits their life, not someone else's. That's why this argument will never end. That's why it will echo in feed stores, dealership lobbies, machine sheds, and harvest fields long after today's models are scrapped or restored. Because farmers don't just defend a brand. They defend their own story, their own land, their own way of surviving in a world that doesn't always give them much control. And in the end, maybe that's the real verdict. Every tractor is the best tractor, according to the person sitting in the seat.